Hi, I'm Dan Artosis-Stemkowski alongside Nick Taslos-Pla, and we are here to bring you the ESWC Asian Masters of Cheonan tournament. And this is going to be the top 16 tournament of Europe. And this is the finals. We have Strelok against Whiteraw.
And what an unusual pair of players we have here. Obviously, two Europeans, but two Ukrainians. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. That's not to say that they aren't worthy, because I think looking at the skill sets of these two players coming in this far into the tournament, it's not as much of a shocker after all, because these guys are just dominating.
Yeah, you know, recently Strelok came in third overall at the WCG World Finals. That is no easy feat. And Whiteraw, you know, second place at the ESL Major Series. Every top European player in that. So these two are they are the cream of the crop, and this is going to be an excellent match.
Yeah, and you got to bear in mind that these are two guys that are very good friends, which means they know each other's play style in and out. Several hundred games they've played against each other. So they're really going to have to come up with some pretty tricky strategies if they're going to come out with a victory. And only one person's going to do that.
Yeah, you know, only one ticket to Korea. Only one player from Europe is going to come for this four-man elite ESWC tournament. First time ever for StarCraft and ESWC.
It's a big moment in esports history. Well, look, I can't wait any longer, man. We got to get this thing going.
Yeah, let's just go. All right, and here we go. This is the European Finals, and we have Strelok going up against Whiteraw. This is really exciting. Whiteraw won the winner bracket final, beating Strelok in it, and now he is up 1-0. He has chosen Medusa as the first map, and Strelok's going to have his work cut out for him.
You know what's even more interesting about this is that these are both Ukrainian players. These are two guys that are grew up not that far from each other, compete against each other constantly in the finals of, for instance, WCG, and many other European events. And it looks like right now, undoubtedly, Ukraine is the best European country.
Yeah, you can't deny it, really. I mean, these two are not even the only two players. We also have Dimaga.
Right.
Whiteraw didn't even make it to WCG World Finals this year. Dimaga is a great Zerg player. He's highly respected by other top European players. So, I mean, Ukraine, who would have thought? But this is an amazing country for StarCraft players.
It reminds me a lot of back when Poland was one of the best countries, and everybody was kind of like, Poland, really? But I mean, it was undeniably true. There were at least a dozen players from Poland that were all solid, not necessarily the very, very best of the best, but just the sheer multitude of good players they were from there was shocking. Yet another Eastern European country that had an era of dominance, and now it's Ukraine's turn.
And you know, speaking of Poland, Strelok in the loser bracket final went up against Driven, a very close series. Won 2-1 over Driven, and you know, Poland, still a very strong country. You know, some of these Eastern European countries, I think it has something to do with, you know, their internet connection isn't quite as good. StarCraft does not take very good internet, does not take very good PCs to play. So we have large populations in countries like Chile, Peru, these up-and-coming countries playing this game.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, and it's always interesting to see, you know, the kind of shift in which countries are more powerful, less powerful. For instance, the United States becoming a powerhouse probably in the last few years, and before then, you know, I think wasn't regarded as a very good StarCraft country at all. Things are constantly changing.
Yeah, you know, that is one very exciting thing about the foreigner scene. It's very dynamic in that sense. And it's so exciting to watch. And we see right now, let's get to the game for just a moment here, Strelok has actually gone for a 10 barracks, 10 gas build. And this build is actually kind of weird to see. You know, Strelok,
yeah, just a little.
he's known for kind of having his own way of playing. He's a very mid-game player, and he has strong early game builds that he makes. You know, he does not copy builds very often. But Whiteraw's build is a perfect counter to this. Look at this, 10-15.
I love this build. I use this build all the time on iClub. When I get to play X-Pro Gamers or B-Teamers, I'm always using this build if I'm on this map because I just think it is the build for this map.
You know, I agree with you totally. You either got to go for a fast Nexus or you go for the 10-15 gate. And Strelok's build really is much stronger against the fast Nexus. We've seen Flash do this before. The 10 racks, the 10 gas gives you this fast factory. You do a very marine heavy FD Terran push. But the thing is, 10-15 gate is going to be very strong against this. He's cut a lot of SCVs for it, and the Marines are not going to do so well against range goons.
Right. Now, the one thing you got to remember is that really during a rush like this, it's the tank that has to stay alive. Obviously, the Marines, you want to keep as many of them as alive as well, but the tank is going to be what's dealing the damage. The Marines are really just there to get in the way of the Dragoons. And it does indeed look like our player White Raw is going to go ahead and try to take out this SCV before continuing to rush, just in case this SCV can do any additional scouting.
Indeed, and I think we're going to see Strelok, in fact, go for 2 siege tanks if I had to guess. The 10-15, with this particular FD rush, if you go for mines first, you are going to have to make a bunker, and Strelok has already cut, a couple SCVs to get this up this quickly, so I really think he's going to have to, put in that second siege tank to really make this work out right.
Now, interestingly enough, he's already upgrading mines, but I have to agree with you. If he doesn't get that second tank, he could be in a world of trouble. Because let's face it, I mean, when you're this far behind in SCVs, if you do get that bunker up, you're going to be spending a lot more minerals, and you're already kind of hurting early on because of the sacrifices that you made.
Yeah, with this quick one, once again, making that bunker, it's going to delay the command center quite a bit, and the 10-15 is going to be able to transition into a quicker nexus, and you're just going to be playing from behind all game long. So definitely, the second tank would be the smart choice here.
And you can see that White Raw is already aware of what's going on. And he goes right for the tank. That's exactly what you need to do in a situation like this. And there's the second tank, which is going to make White Raw's rush probably a little bit less powerful and does not get that second tank, and that's really going to be hurting him.
Yeah, that's huge. And being a little bit sloppy there, Strelok really has to execute this just correctly. If he loses too many Marines, the tanks will be overwhelmed by Dragoons. You see beautiful micro by White Raw here, just picking off Marines, really damaging them down, losing not too many Dragoons yet. Very nice micro.
Really nice micro here. I think if he wanted to make holding this off any more effective, he should have floated the barracks over to the area that he was being rushed in. That can mess with the Dragoon AI a little bit here. But again, fantastic micro here by White Raw. And you got to note that he's going for the tanks yet again. And I do believe he will get 1. Will he get 2? Not clear. He wants to go ahead and focus his attention on these vultures to make sure that no mines are planted. That could really mess up his rush here. We might have a very short game up here.
Yeah, he's got to be careful now. Look at that, the command center being built out pretty far. And Strelok, he's expanding quicker than White Raw here. And White Raw going for a robotics facility. So, we could be seeing him go right up to Observer and trying to bust through before Siege mode or something like that. But, it looks like, for now, at least, Strelok is safe.
I would have said the standard way to play this out would be to be getting a Nexus as you're going ahead and getting that rush.